Sometimes you can already tell the outcome of an entire day right from the start. Hello again, rail fans, and welcome back to yet another Central Florida outing. Today we've made the eastbound run on I-4, hopping off at Plant City to catch 0710. The main goal today is to catch and chase CSX Local 0730. But before entering the Bone Valley, this guy lit up the scanner. 710 would be passing Woodrow Wilson Street to begin working customers on the main in Cherry, specifically Hardy Building Products, where some of those boxcars are destined for. 0710's power today is an old Jeep 40-2, built for the Chesapeake and Ohio in 1978.
About 848.
Little things like the non-rebuilt 48-year-old engine and the light blue boxcar make locals interesting to me, but before any of the switching began, we drift over to Lakeland. We drive around the Winston area, listening for anything to do with today's 0730 until we heard 0708 talk to the JA dispatcher.
708. All right, 0708. Got to go to the C8 also, so do you think it'd be best for us to go there now, or is 455 close enough? They're at Dade City. I'll leave that up to you. It takes about an hour and a half to do our work in there, Okay, looks like you're north of South Lakeland there. That's correct. All right, signal coming to you, South Lakeland. We'll head you towards CH that way, over.
So now we know we have a lunchtime Q455 at Dade City. 0708 would be heading down to the CH Spur in downtown Lakeland and was making sure that he had enough time to make his moves. From where we stood, Lakeland Junction was a nearby shot, but we've been there many times. 10th Street isn't much further, but the cloud coverage and sunlit side would make for a tough shot that would be very cramped and close to the tracks. So Fairbanks Avenue would be the decisive spot. I chose the backlit side as the curve coming down after crossing I-4 would be a cool shot, and the sun was now almost directly overhead. Looking south, the 10th Street signal would display a medium approach slow. For some reason, the dispatcher had a Q452-23 tied down on the main crewless overnight, forcing 455 to bypass him through the siding. Now, although the 10th Street switches are what I believe to be 40-mile-per-hour turnouts, 455 would still have to significantly slow down to pass 452 on the siding. There has to be a reason, but if 452 were placed in the siding to begin with, all these trains on the Vita sub wouldn't have to go around him and stay speeding down on the main. Just another railroad decision that I'll never understand. Nevertheless, the Stokes defect detector would soon call out 455's 8,000 feet of train, and in minutes he was here, rounding the corner southbound approaching Lakeland Junction, where he'll turn east towards Auburndale. Instead of chasing 0730 down to Prairie from Winston, we decided to catch this Q455. 455 is the daily manifest freight from Waycross, Georgia to Taft in Orlando. His cars are destined for places all over the CFRC, including Sanford, Conrad Yelvington, and obviously Taft Yard. On a good day, this train passes Vitus around dusk, if it doesn't take the A-line south from Callahan. So a lunchtime catch of him would be quite worth it, especially with those two Y&2 motors being a bonus. With thanks to Max Stevens for the information, we'd leave our 455 in Lakeland and begin our drive into the Bone Valley. We heard 0730 switching Mulberry and asked the dispatcher for a signal at South and IMC. IMC is the siding that branches out of the Valrico sub in Mulberry. Within IMC is where the yard into Mulberry is located. And today, instead of switching Prairie and continuing south to New Wales, 0730 would be picking up 158 phosphate cars to be put into storage, but we'll get to that later. With my friend Mike Anderson in the yard serving as conductor for today's 0730, 2 more YN2s would work the yard for about 30 minutes, which would block State Road 60 for almost 20 minutes. Traffic on the busy road would back up all the way into downtown, so we took the opportunity of clear roads to drift downtown to the Mulberry Diamond. Arriving with a green signal at the Diamond, we hear a train calling the JF dispatcher for authority to Ridgewood, Mosaic's massive Bartow plant in mind.
B361, JF. Alright, B361-24, go ahead, over. Yeah, you come out south NIFC, head into Ridgewood. We're gonna swap motors there and come back to IMC with another set. Over. Alright, what's your engine now? 5339, over. Alright, signal out the south end, come on. Alright, looking for that signal. Here we go. B361.
Next to me is the Valrico sub here in downtown Mulberry, Florida. We got a green signal for a B361 who's coming actually right now, but coming through, going to Ridgewood, coming back with some other engines. And then right behind him will be the 0730-24 with the 2 YN2s. So let's turn the camera around, and here comes B361. With a sick K5 HLA, B361 is through downtown, heading light engines to Ridgewood. Downtown Mulberry is a very nice spot to catch trains in the Bone Valley. In the middle of State Road 37, the CSX Valrico sub from Valrico Junction to Bartow crosses the CSX Bone Valley sub from Prairie Yard to Agricola to form a railroad diamond. We were here last blindly hunting for trains in February of 2021. That outing didn't go to plan, and we ended up seeing a grand total of 0 trains in the BV. Fast forward to now, however, and after extensive research and a bit more experience, I'm set up next to the Diamond with a train approaching. One of my favorite aspects of the Bone Valley are all the old signals still in use. The last seaboard Y-pattern signals guard the Diamond on the BV sub, with signals on the Valrico sub being not much newer. I was surprised to see these signals still intact and in use, as the Diamond itself was replaced in January of 2021. I made sure to take as many photos of the old signals that I could, as probably one day soon, without warning, a crew will come and replace these old relics of the past. It's important to document these late soldiers, as most likely in the not too distant future, they'll be gone. Speaking about signals, the timetable southbound signal on the Valrico sub is displaying an aspect that personally I've never seen. In the CSX rulebook, this yellow over red over green displays an approach slow. Proceed, approaching the next signal not exceeding slow speed. The signal is for 0730, and we soon hear what movements caused this signal aspect in the beginning.
730-24, JF. 730-24, go ahead. Yeah, I guess once that B361 gets clear to south and seems like to follow him out. We gotta go through South Mulberry down Aiken and make our way towards the tram track through Agricola and all that if we can get a line down that way. AC1 88427 52422 AY 66.0 0730-24 engine 84 MA Anderson. Circle line 1A. Main track, both directions. Between NAS, STEM, South Mulberry, Maine,
South Bay Yard Limit, Maine. Circle line 1B. Operate main track, both directions, between North Tram Yard Limit, Maine, and South Tram Yard Limit, Maine. Over.
So instead of making his usual rounds to New Wales and back, today 0730 will be going down the Aiken sub to Agricola and turn towards Bradley, dropping 158 cars into temporary storage within the tram yard limits. Tram yard isn't a yard and doesn't even have multiple tracks. It's the main line between Bradley Junction and Agricola. Back about 20 years ago, CSX would never think of storing cars on this main. As with Mosaic's Green Bay plant still operational, trains would still run this route daily. The plant was merged into Cargill in 2002, rarely seeing any trains now, other than these storage trains and an occasional local to serve the few remaining industries in Agricola. We knew that we would chase 0730 down this side of Aiken, as it's an operation that probably won't occur again for quite a while. With 0730 rounding the Mulberry Y, we would hop onto State Road 37 to a private crossing just south of Aiken Junction. This crossing was the entire reason we came out to the BV today. Just listen. No loud trucks, highways, 4-lane intersections, or drive-through restaurants. No shopping plazas, condos, or the din of loud music. No commotion of downtown, or honks or beeps of impatient motorists. This is Florida, and my favorite part of it. With rails almost completely rusted over, 0730 continues south down the Aiken sub. Here he'd be approaching a hill where 730 would notch up both of his old engines. 25 miles per hour was the posted speed limit for trains on the sub, but on this warm sunny spring afternoon, 730 or anyone wouldn't be in a hurry. Jumping back into the car, we'd pass another railfan, Max Stevens, shown here grabbing a few photos of the rare move. We leapfrog 730 to a slight hill where I'd grab my zoom lens and take one of the coolest shots of the day. When people ask me why I like trains, it's scenes like these that come to mind. The stunning head and ditch lights, the 30-year-old engine smoking up the hill, and the almost combined 9,000 horsepower coming right toward us with over 150 cars in trail. One really cool aspect of this train would be the phosphate cars. Some new, some old, and some right in between would create a really nice variety of road names and fallen flags. Everything from the Rio Grande to the Chessie system would be in the mix, all to tie up Tram Yard between Bradley and Agricola. Tram Yard was the main for trains heading to and from Green Bay to Valrico. This video from Distant Signal would come to mind as this train passed. Two Y&2 SD40s leading a loaded wet rock train coming into the processing plant. A quick look on Google Maps and we'd find the exact crossing this video was shot at. The unmistakable phosphate plant in the background, now a large grassy man-made hill. With 0730 approaching, this shot felt bittersweet as it shows the new and old and proves the fact that all things won't last forever. The quiet countryside of Central Florida, next to the exact spot of a once busy plant, all being passed by a storage train. This is why we rail fans film, photograph, and document these trains, because without it, a small portion of history would be lost into the lazy grass. With the radio quiet, we began heading for home, concluding a successful chase of 0730 and a really enjoyable day in the Bone Valley. If this outing reminded me of anything, it would be to always keep your cameras with you. Always take photos and videos, even when it looks to be redundant, because you never know what you got until it's gone. This is Christian from Multicolor Films, end of transmission.